This is Movers and Shakers, where we interview the upcoming generation of Make It Happen multifamily investors to share their story.
Welcome to the Movers and Shakers podcast. My name is Gino Barbaro, co-founder of Jake Gino, multifamily investor, educator, father, mentor, and I am joined by my co-host, my brosif, Joshua Ryan Rusin. Josh, how are you doing today, bro?
Gino, doing well, man. Just reflecting on how grateful I am to have leaders like yourself and Jake here in my life. And the fact that you guys put your money where your mouth is. The other day we had a call where we had Chris Voss. You guys invested heavily to have him come teach to our coaches so that we're always getting better and then able to share those skills with those that we work with. Gino, what are you excited about?
Well, the exciting thing right now is if you can weather the storm and you can start investing in yourself and investing in your company, marketing dollars right now are going to go farther because a lot of people are pulling back. So if you have that money left aside, I think it's important. And what I want everyone to think of, this is not going to be the last crisis. There's going to be the next crisis. So assess what you're doing in your life right now. See what's working and what isn't working. For me, I was fortunate that I have some money set aside. Hopefully that lasts through this crisis. But maybe now's the time to set up a little bit of an emergency fund for you after this is over and have some money liquid going forward. I think that's something that I think we can all agree that that's a great idea and a great strategy. So if you can't work for 30 days or 60 days, you have some money set aside. You don't need the government's money. The government's money is going to be great, but that's just an add-on to what you have. So as we go through every crisis, maybe there's some opportunities that comes out of the big problems. And for us, virtual leasing has been really big right now. Our offices are closed, but we're an essential business property management. So virtual leasing, virtual tours, that may cut down on our overhead going forward when you don't need as many property managers or as many leasing agents. Let's use technology to our advantage, artificial intelligence, AI with the leasing. See if that works. So I know these are tough times, but Josh, I just would tell everyone out there, just stop. Let's take a deep breath. Let's see what we can assess, what's been going right, what's been going wrong, and see if we can get any great opportunities that comes from these problems.
Love it. Love it. Let's get to today's guest. So today's guest, we have Brian Rees. A little bit about Brian. He's a family man, full-time correction officer for the NYC Department of Corrections, part-time multifamily investor, and he's in the process of reversing those two within a 5-year window. Volunteer coach for all of his kids' activities, including lacrosse, wrestling, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and he's also himself a practicer of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu himself. Welcome to the show, Brian.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right, Brian. So let's get a little bit into your story. So how did you get in the corrections, working in that area? Where did real estate come in?
Yeah, I've been a correctional officer for 15 years. I got the job pretty much straight out of college. And so real estate came in for me because a few years ago, I thought it was possible that I was going to lose my job, right? And that was very scary to me because without that job, I realized I had no other way to provide for my family. So to Gino's point about don't rely on the government, right? I relied on the government for a job. And if that job went away, I was screwed, right? And it's a scary feeling when you're a family man. You got people to feed and take care of you that rely on you. So I had a friend who invested in real estate, and I said, I spoke to him about it. Give me some information, and then so I bought a single family, then onto a triplex, and then now I joined up with you guys, and I just closed my first big one. It was 9 units.
All right. So Brian, how long have you been doing jiu-jitsu for?
I've been in Jujutsu for 5 years almost. Before that, I did Muay Thai and mixed martial arts. So I've been almost 20 years now in that realm. So
you can basically say that you can kick Josh's ass and my ass at the same time with blindfolded, right? That's not what I'm,
what I would say to that is that one thing that does for you, it makes you humble, right? And you never judge a book by its cover, because there's some guys that you would never think, and then they will choke you out real quick.
So that's really important. Two points. Those who will exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who are humbled will exalt themselves. So this is one of the things you're looking through when you're going through these tough times right now. If you were this big shots, big spender out there, maybe you should have had a little money put aside. So we get humbled, and if we're smart enough, we use those lessons. But the reason why I'm asking about the jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, you didn't become an expert overnight, right? No. You've been a practitioner for years and years and years. And there's so many parallels between real estate and between that specific art. I'll give you a couple and let me know if you think they're parallels. First of all, when you first start, you feel like a complete idiot. You're getting your ass kicked every day. It's frustrating. It's hard. It doesn't make sense. It's a long game. right? You have to have a big enough why. For some people, they want to start because they want discipline. They want to be able to protect themselves. For others, getting into real estate, what your why is, maybe that passive income. So what did you learn from that discipline that you think can translate over into real estate?
Well, like you said, with the long game, it's not going to happen overnight. And as you get further along, like you can tell how good someone is because like if you go there your first day on the mat, no one's good, right? You know that right away. So the more work you put in on the mats, the better you're going to go. It's not just I showed up and I'm here. No, you got to put that work in. So same thing translates to real estate or anything in life, really. If you put the work in, this is something I try to impart on my kids. No one's good at anything the first time they do whatever it is you want to be good at. You have to put the work in. And the work just doesn't include your practice time, right? So it doesn't include your class time or watching the academy videos. You got to make the calls. You got to go to meetups. You got to get on the accountability pods. You got to do all this extra stuff. It's not just even watching the videos. You got to do everything. And then eventually the good things will follow.
That's so funny. He's drinking the Kool-Aid. I like that because it's hard because multifamily is the long game, right? I mean, it's one of those things where you start working at it, you select the market. Then you've got to get on the phone calls and talk to the brokers. That's incredibly that's almost like getting kicked. You're a white belt and you're fighting black belts. You don't know what to do. You're going to take mistakes. You're going to take your lumps. But then after that, you're doing property tours. That's really uncomfortable if you've never done that before. Then all of a sudden you start talking about raising capital and partnering with people. That's another hurdle. Then all of a sudden you have the letter of intent going in and making offers. Then you get one finally accepted. Well, how did that happen, right? Yeah. And it could be 6 months. It took us 18 months, Jake and I. For you, Brian, what were some of the learning lessons when you started in the academy? So let me ask this question first. What were the limiting beliefs or the blocks that you had before you joined the academy? Was it you need money, you need experience? What were the things that were holding you back in multifamily?
Yeah, I mean, same thing with everybody. For me, I kind of jumped in early on and just did things without really knowing. And I guess I got lucky because I didn't lose any money. So that was good. And in my triplex, I'm still making money. So that was good. But like when you talk about back of a napkin, that's like I had a sheet of scrap paper and I was like, oh, this looks like it'll work. I'll do it, So just dumb luck. But, I wanted to get educated. I wanted to have mentors, people I could bounce ideas off of. And those are the things that, like, of course I was scared getting into a bigger deal. You're going to be scared, whatever it is you do it the first time. But if you can kind of get that education, get a mentor to bounce these off, and they can look at the deal for you and help you out and say, hey, maybe you're forgetting about this, or this looks like a good one, and then, so that stuff really gave me confidence. And going forward, I'm like, oh yeah, I could do this. It's not bad, and now I'll have to knock down that next barrier of getting a bigger unit, or like you said, raising capital, whatever it is, the next stages. But yeah, it's going to come.
So what was that first stage? What did you really learn from that first stage? Because you probably, you went outside your market also. You went outside your backyard. Yeah. So did you have people telling you you're crazy, you're taking big risks? Right. Did you have all that?
Yeah, of course. So this is the thing, like it's good to make friends in industries, right? So I wouldn't go and tell my own personal friends, right? Or I wouldn't go and tell guys at work because like, oh, you can't do that. That's not going to work. I'm like, well, oh, really? You sound like you're talking from experience. Tell me about your investment. Oh, I don't do that. Well, then what am I taking advice from you for? Like, I can't take advice from someone who's never done it. That sounds dumb. But that's where this academy is so important because people are investors. They're regular people like everyone else, and they do it and they're successful at it. Like when you say a pizza guy and a drug rep, like, all right, that's great. Like they're regular guys. I could do it. So, getting around people like that, we say like-minded individuals, even if you don't have someone directly that you could talk to, listen to the podcast, right? You're in the academy, listen to the weekly lessons, right? Read the books. Like those are regular people that did it and have succeeded. So don't listen to the people that tell you, oh, you can't do it. I know someone who lost all this money. That's crazy. Like, of course you could do it. If it didn't work, no one would do it,
So that's great. I love that. That doesn't sound crazy. That is crazy because for me, my story that I always tell people, I didn't tell my own mother. My mother, when I first started investing with Jake, a year into it, I'm like, Mom, I'm probably got a year left at the restaurant. And she looks at me, she goes, what do you mean? I said, I have about 200 units in Tennessee. She goes, what are units and what are you doing? I'm like, the reason why I didn't tell you was because you would tell me, and I've heard it before, that you have 6 mouths to feed. Why are you taking this risk on? Why are you doing? And now I look back in hindsight, if I had not done that, I would still be in New York with the restaurant. And I would be flat broke right now because the restaurant is closed. I would have lost all the money in the restaurant. I would have no customers right now and those 6 mouths to feed. I wouldn't be feeding them right now. So I want to shift everyone's mindset on this podcast right now because what you think is not risky is risky. Every single thing is risky. I had a nice little business. All of a sudden, it's not there anymore. You have a nice W-2 job where you think you're going in, that can get taken away tomorrow. I think what Brian's ultimately doing, I think what I'm doing and what Josh is doing is we're trying to take control of our future, trying to position ourselves where we can buy some kind of assets. And it isn't something where you're just going to shut it off and be completely passive. You need to put work into it. But I think taking control and understanding that and taking responsibility of your life, you're going to lead a much better life. And I'm just so thankful that I didn't listen to my mom.
Yeah. So Brian, this is a good segue back to your story. So you hit a point where you got a possibility of losing your job, right? A lot of people in that economy are very uncertain circumstances themselves or may have lost their job, and you hit a fork, right? You can either let that break you and just say, okay, I'm a victim of my circumstances, or you can empower that or use that to empower you and build something. Walk me through that mindset and why you went through that decision and kind of how others should look at it too.
Yeah, well, when it happened, it was right before Thanksgiving, and I was telling my wife, I said, I don't know if this might not work out for me. And she's like, all right, well, forget about buying me anything for the holidays. Let's just take care of the kids and make sure they have a good Christmas. And I was like, that really hurt, that hurt a lot. So I said, all right, well, we're going to get through this, right? You try and stay positive, because if you just go down that self-pity, it's no good. Anyway, so yeah, I powered through that. And luckily, I came out on top. But then I said, I can never rely on anyone else except for me. So personal responsibility, right? Like you look in the mirror, whose fault is it? It's my fault, whatever it is. Like there's some things you can't control, but you can control how you react to it. And now going forward, I waited, this is my 15th year in corrections, right? So I waited 15 years before I started investing. And I'm like, damn, now I wish I started back when I was in my first year in the job, so I'd be so much further ahead. But this was 2 years ago now, almost 3. And I'm glad I started 2 years ago, right? Because look what's happening right now. So, yeah, like people, the restaurant industry, people in every other industry, everything's falling apart, right? But we're cushioning that fall, and hopefully we're going to pull out some more, big wins in the next few months, I think.
Josh and Brian, that point you made, it's not the cards that you're dealt. It's how you play those cards.
Yeah.
Because we're all dealt the same cards. We're all stuck at home right now.
Yeah.
How are we handling those? I think it's important going forward. Brian, I want to focus on this deal. How did you find the deal? And the deal itself, would you have gotten this deal by yourself 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Like what was the learning lessons of this deal, of getting this bigger deal from your journey, from going from a triplex to this bigger deal?
Yeah, so it's like straight out of the Jake and Gino playbook. Like we're on play for play, off-market deal from a broker connection. Like I made calls on another deal, it didn't work out, no big deal. But he put me on his list, right? And I try to be myself and laugh and joke with the guy, so maybe he remembered me. So he put me on his list, and then when this one came out, I ran it real quick, and I said to my partner, I was like, "Yo, this one is good. Let's jump on it." We put an offer in. The next day, there was a counter offer, and then after that, we went to contract. So, yeah, straight out of the playbook. And then there's a lot of lessons involved with that. We had a small credit union that we used for financing. So, and then setting up the LLC, where the credit union had a real problem, not a problem, but they did not understand. So it was almost like, I don't understand how a bank doesn't understand lending. Like I'm trying to coach the bank and say, no, like this is the Series LLC. This is something that's common in the industry. How do you guys not know this, But, you hire good people, and we were able to work it out. So it took a little while, but at the end of the day, and we got it closed just before this whole virus thing started happening. I got back on a plane Monday to come home, and Wednesday they started shutting everything down. So we lucked out in that regard. But yeah, it was quite a journey, quite a few months.
So Brian, how long did it take you to, once you joined the academy, to get that first deal? Was it about a year long?
Just over. I think it was about 13 months.
So that is actually about the time frame for someone to get into a big deal. I think from no experience, from not having any resources, from not being a real estate rock star, It may seem like a long time, but what has traditionally happens, and it happened with us too, Brian, it took Jake and I 18 months to get that first deal. Then the second deal comes 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 months later. Then the third deal comes 3 months after that. So the momentum starts picking up. Now you feel comfortable. Now you've got a framework. Now you have credibility. So what are you looking for in the next deal? How do you think you're going to get the next deal? And I'm sorry, one more thing. Everybody out there, Brian just goes over and glosses over the fact that he said, I just called some brokers. He put me on a list. That's so important what he talked about, because he's building rapport with brokers, and that's in multifamily.
Yeah.
It's not pie in the sky. You need to get on brokers' lists. You need to build rapport, because they are the gatekeepers. And guess what? They're calling us back now, because there's a lot of deals out there. And if Brian had waited till the crash till now, he wouldn't have had all those relationships and all that experience. So multifamily, start now, because you're going to need the runway. So for you, this next deal, what are you looking for in this next deal?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking to go bigger. And one of the first calls I ever took with Gino, right? He said, we were discussing another deal, and he said, don't hammer them over the price too bad if you know they have another one to sell. So this deal that I got was, there was a father, he had 2 daughters, and he passed away and left 2 buildings, 1 to each daughter. So we got one, and we were looking to get the other one. Now it came fast. We didn't realize it was going to come so fast. We weren't really ready. But now with everything that's happened with the virus, so you know what? Maybe we should hold off and wait, because there's going to be a lot more stuff coming on the market that we can get something better for cheaper. So, but going forward, yeah, I mean, this one was 9. So for me, I'm up to 12 units total. I mean, if I could pick up another, 10 to 20, 25, we're looking to get that. And earlier on, when I said I was trying to switch between going from, full-time correction officer and part-time real estate investor, what I mean by that is I have 5 years left on my job before I can retire. And what I want to do, I have a 5-year window where I want to replace my city income with multifamily income, right? So that my window is 5 years, where now I could easily leave when my date is there, and I'll have all my real estate money to fall back on, plus my pension coming in. So that's really where I'm looking to go. I'm not in a rush, but I want to put my foot on the gas pedal and keep going.
That's awesome, because that's a plan. That's something doable. And 5 years goes like that. Yep. And I will guarantee you do another deal or two, you start managing those properties, you might get the itch to say, I'm ready to leave. Maybe I'll move down to North Carolina where my deals are. And you may accelerate it. So that's the ability, and that's the beauty of life, of living an empowered life. You have the option. You can do it. If you want to stay, that's great. If you want to leave, that's great. Because I know you like your job. I mean, that's the thing. A lot of the students that we have, they like their jobs, but they know there's something better out there. So having that option is really important. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. Options, and this is, again, something I try and impart on my kids. I'm like, yeah, you do good at school even if you don't like it, because you know what it gives you? It gives you an option. You don't have to be a doctor, a lawyer, whatever, or a construction guy, but if you do good, that gives you an option. When you get bad grades and you don't try and stuff like that, your options are limited. And then you can be flipping burgers at McDonald's. You know what I mean? Like, you want as many options as possible. It gives you the ability to control your life, like you said.
So before we go to the short answers, what I want to know is if you could give us a little framework of a person or student, someone who's listening to the podcast, what are the next steps they should do after they listen to the podcast if they want to get into multifamily? Like, really be serious about getting into multifamily. What should I do?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, always education is a key, right? Education is a key to anything that you do to life. If you don't know about whatever subject you're talking about, you can't really talk about it with any confidence. And you don't know if someone's ripping you off or taking you for a ride, So get educated. That's the first thing. And then you join a community like this where, like I said earlier, you could just bounce everything. Even in a Facebook group, you could bounce something off 100. And whatever problem that you're going to encounter, someone's already been there and can give you great advice on how to navigate those troubled waters. So get educated. But then after that, like, there's only so much education you can have. You got to get involved, because even as much as I think I know, I still learned a bunch from just closing this deal. And you know what? I'm not going to make the same mistakes again going forward on the next one. So if you make the same mistakes again, then you got to take a look in the mirror. But, yeah, I mean, it never stop learning. You got to get in the game sometime, but you need to have some coaches and mentors that can help you out.
Josh, I love that. Before we go to the commercial break, I just want to wrap that up for everybody, because it's really important. It's really simple. It's education times action equals results. Get involved wherever, whether it's Bigger Pockets, whether it's Jake and Gino. Get involved with a mentor. Pay to play, seek to serve. And you're going to make mistakes. It's okay. Don't make the same ones, but I will tell you, Brian, you're going to make mistakes on your second deal. And you're going to learn from those mistakes. And you're going to make mistakes on your third deal. I don't want people to be fear-stricken, because with fear-stricken, Brian has hope. And he knows that in the next 5 years, he's going to be retired and he's going to have 50, 60 units. And that hope is what's driving him. So that's really important. Education times action equals results. Get involved and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Let's take a quick time out to hear from our sponsors.
Gino, I know a lot of our listeners are wanting to take their multifamily investing business to the next level. I know that you've been hard at work helping Jake and Gino students do just that using our framework. Can you explain to the listeners how they can get our help?
Guys, we've been hard at work growing our community of like-minded investors, and the results of our members has been nothing short of incredible. We're looking to grow this amazing group. What we're looking for is those who want to follow our proprietary framework that we've created. Buy right, manage right, and finance right. Leverage our connections, education, and mentorship as ways to take your business to the next level.
So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become a part of our amazing community, apply to work with us at jakeandgino.com/apply.
All right, Brian, I got some short answer questions for you here.
Yes.
What's your favorite book you've ever read?
So I don't really have a favorite, right? I like a lot of leadership books, a lot of mindset books. I think anything by Jocko Willink is a great thing. Right now I'm reading something by Colonel David Hackworth. It's called About Face. You know, it's another leadership book, military. I think if you could start your day off, read a couple pages every day of something that puts you in a good frame of mind, right? So that's really where I'm at with those. Yeah.
I like that. What about your best habit for success?
For me, I like, diet and exercise. I don't eat the healthiest foods all the time, but exercise, I think you need to exercise. Everyone needs to get out and move around, whatever it is. For me, it's jujutsu. But like when you, or Muay Thai, any kind of martial arts where you're getting really fighting for your life kind of thing, the small problems in life or the big problems in life seem smaller because you're used to like so much physical pressure. It gets you in a great frame of mind for the day, and you're like, that's not really that big a deal. At least I don't have everyone choking me out right now. So
Love that. All right. So listen, this episode has been packed with a ton of golden nuggets, and I want to sum up a few of them. One, when you hit a tough time, you're at a fork in the road, right? You can either let that break you or you can build off that and let it empower you. Another one, your results are a direct reflection of your efforts. And then, Brian gave us a great success formula. Get educated, that leads to confidence, which leads to action, which leads to results. And then ultimately what everyone can say is, hey, the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago, but the second best time is now. And a year from now, you'll wish you would have started today. Gino, I know you have something to add to this. Let's hear him.
Well, Josh, you've done such a great job, honestly, just nailing everything. To me, I think it's just having a plan. And maybe with the vision, the plan doesn't change, the vision doesn't change, but maybe you course correct and you take some different steps. And I think that's important. I think having the vision, having the plan, and just implementing it. And I like the fact that it's not get rich overnight, quick, right? Brian took 12, 13 months to get that first deal. He's been working at it. And this next one is going to come a lot easier. There's going to be more momentum. He knows what to do. He's made mistakes on his first one that he's not going to make in the second one, but he knows he's still going to make mistakes on the second one, but he'll learn from those and then from the third one. So I think that's what's important. Stay focused, enjoy the path, and just continue to work on yourself, Josh.
I love that. Well, guys, I want to thank Brian for being an amazing guest on the show and sharing his movers and shakers story. If you want to be the next movers and shakers guest, email me, josh@jakeandgino.com. And please, if you like the show, leave us a review. And until next time, let's make it a movers and shakers week. See you, everybody.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.